Hello, this is Jed with SciHat, So I Had a Thought YouTube channel where I build my thoughts. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a floating shelf. So first you have to select the lumber you would like to use for it. I kind of pre-measured and make sure it was long enough. I'm going to cut it into smaller sections. What we're going to do is we're going to use a piece of steel and then weld some 3/8 rod to it and then drill holes in here so that the board will slide over top of the 3/8 rod, and then the piece of steel will anchor to the wall, kind of like so, but we're not going to do that in here. So we can anchor it to the wall. There we go. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to recess all the holes so that way when I run the screws into the wall, they are flush, because this here part is going to be right up against the wood of the shelf. All right, so we are now going to cut the studs that are going to be attached to my anchor brackets that will slide onto the wood. All right, so now that we have all my studs cut, we are going to fasten the studs to the mounting bracket.
I'm using a square to make sure that they're square.
Smoky. Ta-da! Now they should be perfectly straight. I think they're slightly crooked. I'll bend them. Much better. It would help to mark your spot before you weld so that you get them perfectly in line, because they have to be perfect because both holes board will slide over. All right, so now we have all the studs welded to the bracket. We are going to cut my shelf down to size. We're gonna have to number these so that way we get the right, because they're not all exactly the same. So that way we get the right one with the right one. But I think I'm gonna go in. See how it works. Well, that's the idea. All right, so with some adjustments, I went and tapered the ends of the studs, and it slides in there quite nicely. If I can do this with one hand. Woo! Ta-da! So now this steel here will be against the wall. I will taper the holes, that way my welds will fit that way the board fits back flush against this here. There still will be a tiny gap behind the board, but I think that'll be fine. All right, so now we egged out the holes, or recessed it, so my welds will slide in a little bit closer. All right, now we're going to hit these with a palm sander and clean these guys up. I'm gonna let some of that there. Nice. I kind of want to let some of that, there's rough cut saw marks there, and yeah. All right, so you know how it's a pain to try to find the studs. Well, we're gonna just either we took the drywall off and we're going to attach the attach them right to the studs. That way we know we hit the studs. And all right, so there we go, floating shelves. We put the shelves on before we put the drywall on. That way we know we hit the studs. Yeah, floating shelves, because it's always a pain to try to hit those studs. Yeah, like and subscribe to see more.